Good evening and welcome to the first ever Lions Den videocast or podcast. The whole purpose of this podcast or videocast is to give a place for RSL Nation, RSL diehards to get together and chat about the team, the league, basically about the game of soccer in general. So as this is the first time we have ever done something like this, um, we don't quite know what we're doing. We promise we will keep at it. We'll keep getting better, and thank you for your time and for joining us today. Today we'll just take a couple of quick minutes and introduce ourselves to you so you know who we are. Then we'll cover a couple of hot RSL topics. So this is Adele, RSL fan then since day one. Still remember the first time I've been to an RSL match. It was up at the opening match against Colorado at Rice Eccles in 2005. And yeah, I still remember that beautiful diving header that equalized the game in the dying minutes. I'm a season ticket holder, overall soccer fanatic, the type of guy who's up at 5 in the morning on the weekends to watch the Italian leagues and the English leagues and the Spanish leagues and so forth. So I follow very closely the English, German, Spanish, Italian leagues as well as all things MLS. So I'll just go ahead and pass it over to Devin now.
All right, my name's Devin. I'm actually a fairly relatively new soccer fan. Always been a huge sports fan, but soccer didn't really catch on for me till about World Cup 2010. Of course, the big Landon Donovan moment. It was actually a huge thing for me, and I wouldn't trade it for the world now because now I'm a huge soccer fan, and I do the same thing every Saturday morning, up at 5:30 watching all the games. My first RSL game was actually in 2011. I went to the RSL game in July versus Dallas. Didn't know any of the players. Got tickets on a whim. Went with some friends, and then realized that I was absolutely hooked. Made it to every game the rest of that season, and have been a season ticket holder since. Wouldn't miss a game for anything, and so just super involved with the sport. Can't read enough. Get as much as I can. So this is something that's cool for me.
Thank you, Devin. Now on to Russell.
All right, yeah, Russell. Been a lifelong soccer fan. Played growing up. Went to the World Cup in '94. Went to a game in Chicago. Drove rode Greyhound bus out there, which I do not recommend anybody doing. But went to a live match for that. Was definitely one of the best soccer experiences I've ever had. Went to the very first RSL match as well, there against Colorado, and not a season ticket holder unfortunately yet, but I try to make about 15 games a year. Try to get to the major ones, and just trying to get us to be a season ticket holder as soon as I can though. So.
Thank you, Russell. So as you can see, you have a healthy mix here. We'll have some more guys as we kind of move along, as we make this thing better, more or less professional, whatever you like. And we'll also invite any and all of you to join us as we go. We're not, well, I guess we are technically broadcasting live today, but no one knows that we are, so we might as well not be. So this will be posted on YouTube. But going forward, we do have the ability to broadcast these live and do all sorts of really cool things with them. So, as promised, we won't keep you very long today. I will just throw out one topic of discussion and talk about it today. So I'll go first, and I'm going to say something that is not going to be very popular, I think, amongst the majority of RSL Nation, and that is that I believe that we will be better off now that Grabavoy and Borges have left. I strongly believe that, don't get me wrong, I love both of those guys. Like I said, I'm a diehard RSL fan, so especially Ned Borchers and Grabo. I mean, they're the fabric of the team. But I think that since Grabo has left, this will force Luis Gil to play basically 90 minutes a game. Not quite, but close to 90 minutes a game. And I believe that makes us a better, more offensive, more potent team than what we are with Grabavoy in the team. I also love Nat Borchers, one of my favorite players of all time that has ever worn an RSL jersey. But I believe bringing in Olave is an upgrade to winning now. What do you guys think?
I personally, I agree with everything that you said. The thing that I have that I've kind of been looking into, and I honestly think that Gil can step up. The question is just, will he finally? I think part of it might be a confidence issue, and you see when he actually goes out and he plays with confidence, he plays really well. The question just is, can he play a full season where his confidence is up? And when those games go that aren't necessarily great for him, can he shake that off and actually play good either, through the rest of the game that they're currently in, or say like the following week, or whatever makes it so that it's not necessarily something that he carries with him where he has a slump of several games. Because to me, that was one of Grabavoy's greatest assets. Even if he had a bad game, next game you knew that he'd be consistent and he'd be there.
That's a good point. You have to remember Louis Gill is a much younger player. I
Right.
wonder if the call-up back to the U.S. men's national team now is going to help with that confidence. Um, I mean, there's no question he's a more creative midfielder than Nat Grabavoy, in my opinion. And I also think that there's been a lot of discussion about 4-3-3 formation. I think with Louis Gill in there over, say, Grabavoy, that's almost unnecessary. You become a more offensive team without changing the formation.
Yeah, definitely. My concern with Gil, especially in the diamond, is we've seen him at his best when he's at the top, in Javi's spot. When he's out on the wings, he just doesn't seem to thrive as much. And now with Grabavoy gone, him knowing that that's kind of his spot, I'm hoping that he'll embrace it and take it to the level that we all think he can do. Because when we see him in Javi's spot, he shows signs of pure brilliance. But it's when he's out on the outside that he struggles. And hopefully, with him knowing that that's kind of his spot now, he'll embrace it and just run with it and go.
Very good point. By the way, hello, Chris.
Hey, how are you guys?
Very well, thank you. Chris is another member of our team, and Chris, we did a little round of introductions earlier. Just name, how long you've been a fan, that kind of thing. So you can, since you weren't here, now it's your turn.
Okay, so I'm a soccer fan my whole life, I guess. RSL fan. I used to work for a newspaper, and so I went to that they had MLS when Garber came and announced that they were going to play at Rice Eccles, and Checketts and those guys were there. So I have a long-standing relationship with some of the guys in some aspects, but I just kind of took a back seat, and my boys are the ones that enjoy soccer just as much as I do. So we choose to go to games, and I try to keep up with as much stuff as possible, and we kind of go forward from there. So
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
All right. Any other opinions on what I said? No one has ripped my head off. I stated that we're better off with Grabavoy and Borchers gone because we have more playing time for Gill, and Olave is an upgrade over over Borchers.
Well, I think getting us younger is probably one of the better things. We give ourselves an opportunity to, I guess, in some essence, dump salary. And I hate losing Grabavoy. I mean, but I know that we have an opportunity where I think I know that we want to talk about some other things, but I think that Gil gives us a chance to accept his role to be youngs, and I think he gives us kind of the best option, and it makes him multidimensional to be able to play either the left or right side depending on what everyone else does.
Good point. We lost you for a little bit there, but I think we got the gist of it. All right, Devin, you want to go next?
All right. So my topic is left back. I personally feel that that position is the position that makes it so that we could either have an extremely good season or an extremely tough season. As we know, Chris Wingert moved on. He's with NYCFC now. And so they ended up re-signing Mansally to a contract. So as of right now, we have Mansally as our actual left back. We all know that the Jamaican left back Phillips is on the docket for potentially being signed for this upcoming season. And as we also know, Jordan Allen can play that position. I personally feel like, and this might not be very popular, I actually felt like Chris Wingert was one of our worst players that was in the starting lineup last year, because I felt like his lack of physicality hurt us on the wings, and his lack of ability to get clear up and down the field. And when he did, it felt like quite often the crosses and the things that he'd put in were never very consistent. And so I feel like personally we're probably going to improve this year. However, if we don't, I feel like that's going to be the key cog as to the reason why we don't have a very successful year, is if we don't get consistency out of our left back. I don't know what you guys think, but that's personally something that I've been thinking about.
You know, I never understood why we didn't play Salcedo a lot more while Chris was there. Maybe the character issues are part of the reason. I don't know. But I agree that Chris Wingard was. I like the guy too. I've met him a bunch of times
Yeah,
out
I
in the
like him. He's a
town.
great person.
Yeah, but he was probably one of our weakest links. I agree. The new guy, uh, provided we get a new guy, complete wild card. I have no idea what he's going to do. So I can't really disagree with you much on there, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't disagree either. I honestly believe Wingert was probably one of the weaker ones out there as well, as far as the starting 11 goes. And I also saw many of the same things that you pointed out. This year in particular, last year in particular, his crosses were just terrible most of the time. Never getting into the 6 yard, or in between the 6 and the 12 yard. They were either soaring high or going way far. And that was a big thing that I saw, and like you said, as well, his physicality just left things to be seen over there on the left side. So I totally agree that it'll be interesting to see, whoever is put there, if they can step up and give us what we need, both defensively, and then being able to kind of go up forward and help in the attack as well.
Hmm.
So then, part two, real quick. If we don't end up signing anybody else, and we go into opening day with Mansally as our starting left back, and it looks like he would play most of the minutes, does that have you scared, or do you think that he could hold his own and actually be a consistent MLS left back?
I think consistency is the key question there. I'm not convinced of his consistency. He has, once in a while, he has absolute brilliant games where you're wondering why he doesn't do this every game, and why he isn't an all-star sometime soon.
Yep.
And then the very next game, you're like, okay, that's why. Now I remember why. I don't think we would, unless he has some kind of a miracle season, consistency-wise. I don't see us. I see a lot of teams attacking us on that side.
On the left side, exactly. Yeah, and I don't see him. He probably will start the season as the starter on the left back, but I don't see him, playing the entire season as the starter back there. I think that'll probably be one of the positions that we see a lot of switching around, whether it be the new international guy, whether it be Jordan Allen. But I think that left back will definitely be one of the least consistent position played throughout the season.
That makes sense. Chris,
Yeah, and I agree with you guys. No, I agree with you guys. He is like the double-edged sword. We can't decide whether or not he's going to be really good one game and inconsistent the next. And as a team, we can't do that.
No. All right.
Yep.
I think we're on to the next topic. Russell, you anything you want to bring to the table?
So I had two as well, but I'll do my second one. And
I can't.
Hey, Russell, we lost you.
It's cutting out. I don't sit underneath here. Yeah, it's a little better.
All right. Well, we figure out Russell's connection issues. Chris, do you have anything you wanna discuss? A topic you wanna bring to the table?
So I can't even remember what I posted because then a bunch of different thoughts went through my head. But is there a off-season signing that we collected so far that is going to be a difference maker for Real Salt Lake this year?
That's a loaded question. Well, I'm trying to figure out whom we signed, other than that kid that we just signed today.
We signed up that kid whose nickname's like Pekka
Yeah,
from the
that's
Fort
his
Lauderdale
name. Is
Strikers.
Pekka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a local
So
kid, I hear.
between Pekka, Mansali, they re-signed Aaron Mond again, and then the local guy.
Yeah, the homegrown kid.
His name, the homegrown, but he's from Salt Lake. So,
Yep.
is it one of those guys, or is it a guy that is still around that's going to get more playing time and give himself a chance to make a good impression?
You know what? I think I don't know if this sounds weird or not, but I almost feel like we just signed Louis Gill. I'm really excited about what he can do this season. He might disappoint me horribly. I hope you don't, Louis. But I'm the most excited. I really don't see a savior coming from the outside somewhere. I think the team that we already have, with Olave doing what he knows, what we know he can do. The left back, like we mentioned earlier, is the X factor, and with Louis Gill playing the way he can play, I think that's our team. I really don't see anyone coming in from the outside and playing a major role. Or maybe I'm just overly skeptical because of the whole Lampard deal out in New York. I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, I agree. I think with consistent playing time, Gill's going to give us what we need.
My personal thought is the thing that's going to make the difference, at least for what I feel like for like newcomers or players that are going to be coming up, is whoever plays the third midfield spot. And what I mean by that is almost consistently you have one of the two on the side of the diamond, the shuttlers, if you will. Almost consistently, one of them a game gets subbed out. So by the time we lose Grabavoy, in theory, you'd have Gill and Mulholland playing side by side. Who's going to be that person to come in and bring that spark when we need a goal or we need possession? Who's going to be that guy that's going to come into the midfield and help just settle everything down and give us that outlet and that person that's going to help us just keep things running? Because almost consistently we had someone that did that, and that's who I want to know is going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to be honest, I completely forgot about Mulholland. Didn't forget about him, but I mean, in the conversations that we're having tonight, I didn't even think about Mulholland. And that's a good problem to have. Well, that's pretty interesting.
That's good.
Hey, Russell, are you back?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Okay, you guys hear him?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
He went headset off and he's loud and clear. So yeah, I think there's some consistency there that it just consistent playing time instead of him being so sporadic is going to make it so that he's kind of the guy. And I think that will serve as motivation for him, especially now with being in national team camp, to to gain more confidence than he already has. And I think that will carry over into the season, being that consistent starter, either on the left or the right side. Yeah.
I'll go first. Um, Personally, I have a hard time with this one because when I heard that both Houston and Sporting Kansas City were coming over, I was pretty irritated because I felt like that only makes our division harder and it makes the other side seem easier. Maybe I'll be wrong. I guess we'll see. But personally, with the teams that we got brought over and the way that I guess we'll see how we play. I think that if we can hit, by the time we also have, this is what I think is going to be interesting to see. Can our team navigate CONCACAF Champions League again? Because we see teams that seem to kind of fall towards the end of the season when they play both the league and CONCACAF Champions League. So I'm curious to see how we navigate both those two things. But right now, I would have to say if we're gonna get into playoffs, it'd be just barely sneaking in at like fourth or fifth, because I just don't see us coming over the top of some of those better teams that have more chemistry and have kept a lot of more of their pieces.
So okay, so I can see your point with. By the way, I didn't even hear the question. I'm kind of assuming what it is at this point. Um, I think Seattle is going to be as good as they were last year, if not better. We can do a whole different show about what LA did. I think they're going to be worse next year. Personal opinion. I mean, Kansas City, always a quality team. They didn't have such a great year last year. Houston got better. Who do you see better than us in the West right now?
I think the wild card is Dallas. I think if Dallas plays toward the way they played towards the middle of the season and towards the end, they're going to be tough to beat. And I think this is kind of my reaching. I think they have an opportunity to pursue and push for the number one spot with Seattle. I think it's going to be down to those two teams. I don't see many people stopping Dallas this year.
Hmm. Well, that's interesting.
I kind of see it. Well, one of the things that they talked about with the new stuff was they were going to expand the playoffs to 12 teams, anyways. So
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those sitting in the 3, 4, 5 spot again, and I think it gives us, depending on how the early season success that we have with new people, will be kind of the ultimate key. And yes, Devin also said Champions League, which is also a big thing for us. But I think we're still going to be the middle of the pack for now, till we can figure out where that consistency is going to come from with different forwards and different people playing. And I still see us right where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, did you see that ranking come out that stated we have the second toughest schedule in the league, right after San Jose?
Yeah.
Yeah, and someone made the comment, I think makes a little sense. It says the only reason we have the second toughest schedule is because we don't have to play RSL. But we have a very tough schedule other than that. Okay. Well, there's something we can do on one of the future podcasts. We can read RSL Nation Facebook comments and comment on the comments.
Nice.
I think Cartman did something like that in South Park once. All right. I'm sorry, Russell. I'm the only one who can't hear you. So if you're saying something, everyone else can reply to you, but I can't. I can't hear anything. This is really bizarre. All right, I think we've covered quite a bit. This has gone a little longer than we initially intended. Any other burning issues you guys would like to address right now before we call it a day for the live broadcast? And we'll have plenty to talk about the next time, including CONCACAF Champions League. We haven't even touched on the fact that we'll have a lot of our starters gone for much of this summer for national team duty. We have a pretty okay schedule during that time. We have a lot to talk about. Plus, the draft is this week, so we'll see if we pick anyone up. Good enough to call it a day for the day?
Works for me.
I think so. Yep.
All right, thanks, guys. Just hang out for just a minute. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. I hope someone watches this and appreciates it, and then give us some feedback. We'll go off your feedback and take it from there. So thank you very much.